This is how to set up your new TV. I'm Josh Smith with GuidingMobile.com. Right now, we're spending a lot of time at home with stay-at-home orders, isolation, whatever your state's calling it. Your TV is getting a workout. If you have an old TV like this, 1080p, not a smart TV, it's probably time for an upgrade. The folks at Vizio were kind enough to send over the P-Series Quantum X. That's one of their top-of-the-line models, 65-inch. This one retails for about $14.99, and you can find this at local retailers as well as online. I'm going to walk you through how to go from in the box to on the entertainment stand. Now, all you're going to need for this is one other person to help you lift this out. So hopefully there's someone in your house with you. If you have a 55-inch or smaller, you can probably do it by yourself. 65 just gets a little bit unwieldy if you're doing it on your own. From there, you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. That's going to be how you attach the legs. If you're going to wall mount this, that's a little bit more involved. You're going to need a drill, some stud finder, and some additional hardware. If you're going that route, definitely check into that and figure out what you're going to do before you get started. I built a new entertainment stand from scratch because for a big TV like this, the legs are pretty far out, so you're going to need a wide base. So we're going to hook this up. We're going to do a simple hookup. If you look at the top of the box, in this case, Vizio has directions here that kind of explain the process. Different manufacturers will do things differently, so some you're just going to completely lift off. In this case, it's telling me that I need to open the top, and then there's going to be some styrofoam and a guide to remove, and then I'm actually going to lift the entire top of this box off, and that's when I'll expose the TV. So here I have my accessories. In this case, we're going to be looking at our remote with batteries and a power cable. I'm going to set that over here. And then the next thing that we're going to find are our legs. So these legs are going to slot in, and we have to get the TV out, lay it down on a flat surface. So this flat surface can be a table. If you do it on a table, you definitely want to put a blanket down so that you have a soft, flat surface. A lot of times what I've used is a couch, or I have a futon here, so I'm probably going to use that because it's going to allow me to more easily do this in the basement without having to haul a table down here or something like that. Once you have all your accessories out of here and you've removed any tape or straps that are holding this in place, you can lift this up. You can do it very gently, and that's how you get to the TV. With the Vizio options, you can see here we have a bag, and so we can use that in a two-person lift to lift this out, and then we're going to be able to go ahead and start assembling the feet, and then we can get this onto our TV stand. So now we're lifting out the protective layer out of the plastic bag. If you don't have a great place to lay it down, you may be able to use that. The reason we didn't is because if you look at the back, with all the support in the center, we didn't want to keep all of that weight just on the center of the TV. And so now we've laid the TV down, we put it on this, you could put it on a flat surface, and the whole point of this is we need to put the feet on this, and this is where your screwdriver will come in handy. In your accessory box, you'll find 4 screws and 2 legs. So the legs only go in one direction. They're labeled left and right. So they slide in and they kind of point out just a little bit. And then once those are in, you can open this up and use your screwdriver to secure them in place. Now this is a good time to take stock of the HDMI ports and the other connection options that you're going to have here. We're going to mainly use the HDMI ports here. And this one is important for us. It's HDMI ARC, and that's for audio return channel. And that's what we're going to hook a soundbar up to if we're using a soundbar type setup. And that allows the TV and the soundbar to really talk to each other. And you don't have to worry about connecting optical or anything else. Everything just goes and works a lot smoother. So that's one of the best ways to set that kind of solution up. Now in this case, we already have a TV set up. And what's important about that is we already have devices that we want connected. We have a PlayStation 4, we have an Xbox One X, and then we have a Roku on the back. Although you may not need to bring all of your smart devices over. In this case, we have a lot of smart functionality already built into the TV. So you can either remember where the HDMI cables go so that it's simpler to set things back up, or you can take a little piece of tape, wrap that around with a piece of paper and write what it goes to. And that's really handy if you have multiple things that you're going to connect. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this TV from everything. And thankfully my entertainment stand is on wheels. So I can slide back here and go ahead and disconnect our HDMI cables. Disconnect our Roku. And then I'll unplug the TV from power. And with everything disconnected, we're going to be able to go ahead and move this TV out of the way. Now in this case, I have a sound bar here already that I'm going to hook up to the new TV, but what I'm going to do, just for simplicity's sake, is I'm going to disconnect the power from that. I'm going to move this. This way we don't have to lift the TV up over this when we're putting it in place, because the TV is heavy and we do want to be very careful with it. So I'm also going to move some of these other cables that I've disconnected off to the side. And you want to make sure that you have a nice clean space to put the TV so that you're not going to have to adjust things or try and hold the TV with one hand while you lift it upright and bring it over here. All right, so we're going to come over here to our TV and we're going to tilt it back, and we're going to put very little pressure, if any pressure at all, on the sides or the top. We can just kind of slide it down. And with that in place, we're going to be able to lift from the bottom and just kind of support the top. And this is going to make it a lot easier for us to move the TV around without it being a chance for anything to get damaged. And then once you have it on here, you can fine tune it, but what you're going to need to be doing is hooking everything back up. So we're going to go ahead and show you how to do that. So now that you have your TV up on the stand, you want to plug things in. Typically, I'm going to plug things into HDMI 1, 2, and 3, although I do have HDMI over here as well. Now, with most standard sources, you're not going to need optical or to use any of these type of audio outs. We do have Ethernet here, so if I don't have good Wi-Fi in this area, I can plug that in. Now, I have 3 devices, so I have a Roku, I have an Xbox, and a PS4. Typically, I'm going to plug whichever device I use most into HDMI 1 and then kind of go down the way. It's easy to switch back and forth between those, so it doesn't really matter where you put them. Now, if you have a sound bar, what you'll want is another HDMI cable. I'm setting this up for a sound bar, so I'm going to plug into HDMI ARC, which is for the audio return channel, which is specifically designed for a sound bar, this cable. And then I'm going to slide that underneath the TV, where I also have the power cord for that cable. And with that, I'll be able to control the soundbar using the same remote as the TV. And now I'm left with just my other 2 devices, which I'm going to plug my PlayStation 4 into HDMI 2. And then I'm going to plug the Roku in here. And we're keeping that because I need to figure out if there's a Spectrum TV app that's built into the TV. If not, that's mainly what the Roku will get used for. Now you'll notice that there's a ton of cables here, and also there were a ton of cables just hanging down behind the entertainment stand. When you're getting it set up, my advice is to get all of these connections made, hook everything up, test it out, and then once you're sure everything is working, then you can clean up your cables with some Velcro ties or some cable routing stuff. Don't do that and then try stuff, because if something's not working, you're going to take it all apart and it's going to be pretty frustrating. The last thing I need to do is plug my power cord in. It does go in just one direction, and it shows that on there for you. So I have that in, and I'm just going to plug that into a surge protector down here. So now I have my sound bar, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my HDMI ARC cable goes into the HDMI ARC slot, and then plug in power for this and set it up in front of the TV. Now we're going to do some on-screen setup. So you're going to choose where the TV is located. This will give the TV a name, and that helps you find it with other devices. Next, you're going to decide if you want to search for local channels. We're going to skip that because we don't need local channels. We're doing everything over the internet. You might be too. Now you can decide if you want to agree to the terms and conditions. You do have to do that. And then you can decide if you want to share data and if you want to register your TV with Vizio. Now the next thing you're going to need to do, now that the TV is powered on, is go ahead and put the batteries in your remote. Next up, you're going to go through some basic setup for your TV. So you choose the language. Always choose home use, because that's going to tune it for your home, not a store. Choose your location. And now you're going to connect to your Wi-Fi network. Go ahead and type your password in using the remote and hit enter. After a few seconds or minutes, it will connect. The first thing it's going to do is look for an update. And once you find this update, install that. That's going to bring about new features, usability, and bug fixes. So you definitely want to do that. That'll take a few minutes for it to complete. So you'll notice at the top of the screen, it says Vizio soundbar was found and set up. So now when I use the remote to change volume, it's going to change the volume of the soundbar even when I'm using the TV remote. Now you're going to see the smart TV interface. There's tons of apps that are built in. We also have Watch Free, which is a free service for Vizio users. You get TV and movies free. There's some ads. It's pretty cool. I can press any of these buttons at the top to quickly jump between different services. I have Netflix, Vudu, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Crackle, and then Zumo, which are, some are free and some are paid services. And so I can use the built-in apps on the TV as a way to access a lot of smart features. If I push the Vizio button here in the center, it's going to take me back to my home screen. On a Vizio TV like this, we have access to apps, free channels, and a variety of movies, so it's something that you can explore. This one also supports AirPlay 2, so I can mirror from an iPad, an iPhone, a Mac, and Chromecast, so I'm going to be able to mirror from an Android phone or from a Chrome web browser, so it's really handy. I can watch movies that I buy in iTunes on my phone on this TV without plugging an Apple TV into it. Now once you get everything set up and you know it's working, you can start to change some settings. If you press the menu button on the remote, you can go ahead and change picture options. There's a variety of picture modes, including calibrated, calibrated dark, vivid, game, and then you can also adjust individual settings if you scroll down. One thing that you may want to do is you may want to go ahead and type in your TV model, and then you can find some guides on specific settings to change for different activities. And that's a great way to get a better looking setup at home without paying someone or without a professional setup. We can also go into audio. In this case, we have a soundbar hooked up, so we don't need to do a whole lot. It's already figured that out, and our remote is going to control everything. So the one thing you may need to do is you might want to turn on volume leveling if you need a feature like that. And then you also may need to adjust lip sync, and that's really only if the sound you're hearing is not synced up with the people talking on the screen. You can come in here and adjust that. Thanks for joining me to check out how to set up a new TV all by yourself. You don't need Geek Squad, you just need a YouTube video and a little bit of patience, and probably someone to help you out if you're going above 55 inches. Overall, this process took us about an hour, and that was with breaks to film and set everything up. You can probably do it in about 15 to 30 minutes right at home and be ready to go. From there, you may want to adjust some of those color settings and things like that as you get started, but that's something you can do over time. We're able to get up and going with the soundbar. This is a Vizio soundbar. I have a link down in the description below. This is Dolby Atmos, and so there's speakers in the top that bounce off the ceiling. There's a wireless subwoofer and some surround speakers that plug into that. So a really cool way to really upgrade the sound and get that home theater experience. Right now, a lot of us are staying at home. You're not going to the theater. Most of them aren't even open. And you're going to be able to really upgrade that experience at home. Thanks again to Vizio for sending this over so that we could show you how to set this up. You can use this guide with a variety of TVs. We'll have a link in the description below to the P-Series Quantum X, which is this one, which is their high-end model, as well as their Vizio M-Series, which I reviewed last year and really loved. For the price, that's a great value if you're not ready to step up to something in this range. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. That helps us out. You can leave a comment down below. We'll do our best to help you with any issues you run into, and other commenters, I'm sure, will help you out with your TV setup questions. Thanks for watching and have a great day.